Hey everyone, and the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine is now officially out, and let's break it down as there's loads of Easter eggs for Marvel Comics, X-Men, Fantastic Four characters, and past characters returning, as well as the MCU mixing with Deadpool. So let's get started. So in the beginning of our trailer, it starts off with pretty much everyone from Deadpool 2 celebrating Wade's birthday party. In this shot we can see Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Kimiko, Colossus, Dopender, Blind Al, Buck, Vanessa, and most importantly Shatterstar and Peter, who although were actually killed in Deadpool 2, where all the X-Force members are sort of parachuting down and they all hilariously are picked off one by the wind. Now if you remember in Deadpool 2's end credit scene, Deadpool actually uses Cable's time travel watch to go back in time and causes absolute mayhem by going back in time to save Peter and Vanessa. So this is also maybe how he saves Shatterstar, because we don't actually see that on screen, and it may be the actual reason why the TVA later show up in the trailer. By the way, in this party scene, the only missing characters from Deadpool 2 are Josh Brolin's Cable, who probably won't be in this film as he also plays Thanos in obviously the Avengers films, so Marvel may not have chosen to include him for that reason, to maybe confuse the casual audience. Plus Josh Brolin has actually gone on record in recent interviews saying that he's not in the movie, so maybe he actually is in the movie and he's been lying and keeping it a surprise, but we'll have to wait and see. Or maybe Josh Brolin's Cable shows up in an end credit scene, or maybe he shows up on the Void Planet as Thanos. Again, we'll have to wait and see. In Deadpool 2, we actually don't see Rusty, Domino, or Weasel, so hopefully they all show up, as well as maybe they've been intentionally missed out of the trailer and they are actually in the film to keep their appearances a surprise for the film. But again, both actors for Rusty and Domino have actually gone on record saying that they're not in the film. So maybe they're doing something similar to Andrew Garfield, what he did for Spider-Man No Way Home, where he actually lied about not being in the film to keep it a surprise, but we'll have to wait and see. Also, like I said, we don't see TJ Miller's Weasel, as he was actually blacklisted from Marvel and really Disney and the entire sort of Hollywood industry really, due to sexual assault claims and lawsuits post Deadpool 2, so that's why we don't see Weasel as well. So going back to the main Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, we can see at this point in time Wade has hung up the Deadpool costume and has hit pause on being Deadpool as a crime-fighting anti-hero, as maybe he's found out he's actually just not needed at the moment and is light on work. We see a shot of Wade in an employee's uniform for a used car salesman, with his name tag actually on the uniform saying Wade, looking at the Deadpool costume in a locker. Also in the party scene we see Wade wearing a wig over his bald head, which is maybe his sort of own personal way of coping with the cancer. It looks really odd in this scene and later gets ripped off by the TVA agents. Now next up is the big moment you've all been waiting for. Wade answers the door and it's actually the TVA agents from the Loki series with some hunters as well. These are all brand new characters and we haven't seen them before, but obviously the TVA is from Loki. Now this is the new version of the TVA seen post Loki season 2's ending, where they're no longer going through different timelines and multiverses, pruning timelines and different variants, but instead are investigating issues with the timeline and looking for variants of Kang the Conqueror. So again, they might be here due to the events of the Deadpool 2 end credit scene, but obviously Deadpool's going through different timelines and messing them up, and things like saving Peter and Shatterstar and Vanessa. Also, the TVA seem to be recruiting Deadpool for some kind of multiverse team, including Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, maybe for Avengers Secret Wars, as we've heard loads of rumours that both are going to appear in that film, so maybe this is also why the TVA are here. Anyways, the TVA agents and hunters try to intimidate Wade, and his reaction is very Deadpool, making a joke about pegging, and what may be a first for Disney, which is really good to see as a joke, because Disney and Marvel, it's really great to see that they're keeping this version of Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds' humour as Wade the exact same, or very similar at least. And for me, that was a big concern going into this film, as we didn't really know how Marvel and Disney were going to handle Deadpool in the MCU, so it's really good to see that he's still rated R and still cracking jokes. They then push Wade through one of the time portals or time doors, where he ends up in the TVA headquarters from the Loki series, and is woken up by a brand new character called Paradox, who is going to be a similar type of character to Owen Wilson's Mobius from the Loki series. Paradox is actually being played by Matthew McFadden, and appears to be a liaison to Deadpool within the TVA, talking to him and persuading him to sort of be a hero and come back into the Deadpool role, saying that if he comes back, he can be a hero of heroes in the multiverse. Paradox then says, "Walk with me," taking him through a TVA little tour through the main HQ and offices. Also, from what we've heard from leaks and rumours and sort of official things from actors, we know we're meant to be getting some of the other TVA characters from the Loki TV show in Deadpool and Wolverine, as well as Miss Minutes. We already know that Miss Minutes will be in the film in some capacity, even if it is a very short cameo. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that until Marvel and Disney actually announce it officially, possibly in the next trailer. Paradox then takes Wade to a room with several different monitors showing clips and moments from Thor Ragnarok, Avengers, Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and even more MCU moments, with Wade even it's really funny this bit, him saluting the screen showing Captain America, which again is very on brand for Deadpool because he does constantly break the fourth wall, with him even proceeding to make a joke about being a messiah, Marvel Jesus, and then proceeding to make another joke saying that your little cinematic universe is about to change forever, which is obviously a reference to the fact that after Deadpool and Deadpool 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine, Marvel and Disney are going to soft reboot obviously all the MCU films and the Fox universe with all the Fantastic Four and X-Men characters, and Deadpool is meant to be the film that is the catalyst for essentially rebooting the entire MCU, with them supposedly, according to leaks and rumours, after Secret Wars, they're going to completely reboot the MCU by obviously reintroducing the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and making it more comic book accurate because, you know, reintroducing Captain America and Iron Man. At this moment in time, we don't know if they're going to recast those characters, but we'll have to wait and see. As we know, in this film, in some capacity, we are getting X-Men characters, Fantastic Four characters, and MCU heroes of old, with rumours of both Deadpool and Wolverine being main characters in Secret Wars. Then we see what is either a variant of Charles Xavier, who's known as obviously Professor X, think of Patrick Stewart for example, or his twin, which is Cassandra Nova, who is his twin in the comics, and she may be, or he may be, running a gang of pruned or lost MCU and Fox Marvel characters on the Void Planet from Loki, or wherever this scene is actually shot. This scene in particular is really cool as it seems to be inspired from Mad Max, with all the cars and vehicles running along the desert. By the way, both from leaked screenshots as well as official things that have come out from Ryan Reynolds and the sort of crew working on the film, we know that a lot of these vehicles are actually going to be vehicles from past Marvel movies. So again, it seems to be a Mad Max scene where we're going to get loads of vehicles from the Captain America movies, Fantastic Four movies, and things from the comics, like really deep cuts. So it's really cool that we'll see that. We then see Deadpool in some kind of party walking up to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine at a poker table, which is a clear-cut reference to Wolverine in the X-Men First Class comics, as this is a common persona and sort of outfit that he wears in the comics. Now, we think that this scene and Deadpool's mission again is to recruit Wolverine to join a team of sorts for the TVA to perhaps try and save the multiverse. I think that Paradox is telling Wade, as well as sort of, we need your help, he's telling Wade. The entire multiverse is in danger, which includes obviously Vanessa and all of his friends and everyone that Deadpool and Wade cares about in his own universe. And since Deadpool can obviously break the fourth wall, he's chosen to go around different universes for the TVA, which later obviously backfires as we do see Deadpool fighting TVA agents. We then see Deadpool suiting up with his new modified suit, with someone in white even slapping his ass amongst doing other things like cupping certain areas, which again is very on brand for Deadpool. We also get what I can only describe as an amazing entrance in the TVA headquarters in the elevator for Deadpool himself, with reverse splitting upwards and just obviously Ryan Reynolds having really good fun with the role and just being very Deadpool. And I think this is what, on a personal note for me, this is what the MCU has been missing for a very long time. The movies have been doing really bad and getting really bad reviews and having really bad audience reception, with them obviously coming out saying that Marvel and Disney aren't happy and they're eventually going to try and bring back older characters and reboot the entire MCU as a result. And it does seem like Deadpool's new suit is given to him by the TVA and maybe Paradox, which then, like I said earlier, goes awry as Deadpool obviously has a disagreement with the TVA hunters and ends up fighting them and killing them, with a very R-rated scene with him sort of decapitating TVA agents and other things and throwing sort of kunai and swords into their eyes. But again, we'll have to wait and see how this unfolds and what actually triggers this. And the scene on the icy planet is either from the Void Planet from Loki, maybe the scene from Logan where Logan dies, or maybe it's from, and what I think it is because it looks very similar to, the opening scene from Avengers Age of Ultron, as we saw those scenes on the monitor, and it may be Deadpool and Wolverine going to those events from those films, and maybe obviously Fox Marvel films as well as MCU films, to maybe help the TVA and Paradox, maybe I don't know what it would be exactly. Maybe them sort of going back in the timeline trying to correct certain things, and maybe it ends up with Deadpool being very Deadpool and completely messing everything up, which then causes the TVA to turn on him and obviously him then fighting Wolverine and the TVA. We also then see in the trailer vehicles from the comics with the Fantastic Four, motorbikes from the first Captain America movie, as well as this scene with the exact bed from Sakaar from Thor Ragnarok, where Hulk sleeps, you know, where he's sort of staying at Sakaar after the battle with Thor and he's sleeping in the big bed with all the skulls and bones on it. And yeah, this is the exact same bed, and it kind of looks like this scene is taking place on either the Void Planet or the Mad Max planet. Again, we'll have to wait and see. Also, this scene has really sparked a debate in the sort of comic fan base and community that we might be getting a Wolverine versus Hulk moment in Deadpool and Wolverine, which would be fantastic. Imagine if we get a scene where it is Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's characters fighting, either if it's, you know, I don't know, they might be fighting Hulk or another character, but imagine if we get Deadpool and Wolverine fighting Hulk. That would be incredible. We then see a TVA agent handcuffed getting taken by Alioth from the Void Planet in the Loki series. Now, if you haven't watched Loki, Alioth is a beast from the Void Planet, where essentially the TVA went around pruning different variants with their sticks, and Alioth is essentially a beast that's sort of like a cloud without a master, and his only goal is to consume everything in sight and everything he sees. So it's really cool that we'll see Alioth again, and maybe we'll even get a really cool chase scene with Deadpool and Wolverine escaping the Void Planet and running from Alioth, because as we know from the Loki series, there isn't really a clear-cut way to kill Alioth. Now, we also see the leaked scenes in the trailer of Deadpool fighting Wolverine in front of the 20th Century Fox logo on the Void Planet, implying that maybe all of the Marvel, MCU and Fox properties, such as the older films such as Fantastic Four and the Xmen films, actually got pruned. As we know from leaks, that obviously I'm not going to spoil in this video, so don't worry about any of the leaks, I'm not going to show any of the pictures or anything like that, but we know that past characters from MCU as well as the Fox Marvel films will be coming back in this movie, but this movie will be more of a swan song for the Fox Marvel characters, as we do know a lot of those characters will be coming back and will be fighting Deadpool and Wolverine. Now finally we see Deadpool on the floor asking for help and calling Wolverine an ape. We then obviously get to see the silhouette of Wolverine with the claws retracting and Wolverine not helping him up, but instead most likely impaling him and starting the fight that we've seen in all the leaked images and footage. But what's very interesting indeed is that in this shot we also see a torn, burnt comic book cover from, specifically, number 5 of Avengers Secret Wars. Now this is a very interesting thing to cover because this cover in particular has Dr.Doom on the front. Now this is interesting, as since the actor for Kang the Conqueror, which is Jonathan Majors, has also been blacklisted for sexual assault lawsuits, he actually lost those lawsuits, which resulted in Marvel completely cancelling and cutting all ties with the actor. It seems as though internally Marvel will not only recast Kang the Conqueror, but will also make Dr. Doom the main villain for the next Avengers films and Secret Wars. Now this indeed would be really cool, as we know we're also getting Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards in the new Fantastic Four film, so maybe we'll also start to see Dr. Doom show up in that film. We might actually see Dr. Doom sort of in a post-credit scene, as we know he's not the main villain of the Fantastic Four film, as we know that's starting to sort of film very shortly. So maybe we'll get an end credit scene in Deadpool for Dr. Doom, or maybe we might even see Dr. Doom either in the Mad Max planet or the Void planet, as that would be really cool. So everyone, that's been your full breakdown on all of the Easter eggs that we saw in the Wolverine and Deadpool trailer. This movie looks fantastic, and for me personally, it looks like the reboot and the sort of kick up the backside that Marvel and the MCU and Disney desperately need, as a lot of their films haven't really been doing good. I recently watched The Marvels and wasn't really that impressed. I thought it was okay, like I don't think it's really bad or anything, but I thought it was okay. But okay for the MCU isn't good enough because of all the money that they actually put into those films. So I think that they desperately need a film like Deadpool and Wolverine to do well, and I think this film will be, really good, as it is the only big MCU film coming out in 2024, and for good reason, as obviously Marvel and Disney have got faith in this film. So everyone, thank you so much for watching, and for more Deadpool and Wolverine content, don't forget to stay subscribed to the channel, like the video and share it with all your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a really great day today. Bye!